Alright, here's an update. For a little while I was sitting and looking at this thing, not too happy with it. I cut two short sections for the front of the trunk floor. I did that so I could try to slide it under the wheel tubs and make it flat. When I bead rolled it and then when I put the heat on it to weld it, it warped up pretty bad. So I'm going to go ahead and cut out everything I just did and put two large pieces across this brace I put in here, and hopefully it'll keep it pretty flat. I'll mock it up in place and see how it looks, and if it needs some strength I may add a bead roll or two, but I'll alternate flipping them one way or the other so that they still have some strength. Here you can see where it's still warped pretty bad. Oh, I'm going to cut all this out, put a piece here and a piece here, see how it works. welcome back. Had some camera issues, so kind of missed a little bit of this last piece here. Cut out the trunk floor, put 2 new pieces in there. Came out great. Put the bumper on and filled in the little gaps below the taillights there where, I don't know if I cut that out or somebody cut it out, but it looked weird. So filled those in and then put the bumper on, and there was a gap between the bumper and the body, and went back and forth on if I was going to fill that or not, and I just went ahead and did it. Got a little skim coat of the Bondo glass, that reinforced filler on there to kind of get into that seam and give it a nice little something to grind down and make it flat. So as soon as that dries, I'm going to sand that down. On the other side over here, I had some issues with the battery. So the battery was a little higher than I would want it to be flush. So I got one of those little cheap Allstate battery brackets, and I had welded some standoffs. So I just unbolted it and moved it down, and it should clear just fine. I can make a little trap door to cover the battery, and all you should see from that is the 2 cables coming up to the cutoff switch. So here's the trunk floor. Came out decent. A little battery hole. And, you can see it from the back. Shouldn't be see too much of it with the bumper, but it's pretty even with the back there. And then here's my little skim coat of fucking filler on there. These are the little extensions that I made. Bring that down a little bit, so when I put this bumper on here, it should be nice and smooth. I don't know if I can get that shot in here. Put that in real quick. I want to mess up my nice clean garage. There you go. Pretty nice and tight. I still got some bumper work to do. But it just bolts up, it'll in there nice and tight like, and tips are recessed a little bit in there, and that cleans up the back. Got the weather stripping on the sides hanging out, so it's not going to close all the way, but kind of gives you an idea of what it's going to look like. Still got a whole lot of sanding to do and to fill in some of these little deep low spots from this rusted old metal. You guys know I'm not throwing a lot of money at this thing. I'm just kind of throwing time at it as I get it. So buying a new tail pan and floor and brace and mounts and all that crap wasn't in the budget. This is what we got. So try to throw this here battery in there and see how she looks. So I have finished sanding. I applied some sealer and some paint and reinstalled everything, and looks alright from 10 feet away. I'll give you guys a little shot. Bumper. Still got some work to do on that. And the little fill panel in there. My lights in there. License plate flips up, fillers behind it. Here's the product I used. I sealed the Mondo chip with that. Painted with this Rust-Oleum paint. Love that paint. It's about the same price as the other cans, but it's got a primer with it, so seems to cover a little better, which is nice. And got everything wired up, back installed in there, and lights and all that. Got the truck done. Sprayed it with some self-etch primer and some undercoating. Technically it's over, but not under. But it's still undercoating. Should give a nice little durable finish. Although it's a trunk, so not too worried about the finish. Got the little panel I got to make to close this out for the battery, and do something with the wires over there, and probably gonna make a cover for this little latchy setup thing here. But overall, I think it came out okay for what it is. Yeah. Now we're gonna keep moving bodywork up to the front, and start messing with the hood and get this thing all one color and somewhat straight. You know, straight enough for a driver anyway. But yeah, that was fun. Definitely saved a lot over the entire trunk floor, which was like $800 plus an insane amount of shipping. And I had, I don't know, $400 or $500 in this tail panel and support bracket and all that, body mounts and everything. I just made those and made some channel and threw some 18 gauge in there, and I got the trunk pretty much so it's not movable. Before, I could grab this whole trunk piece and move it back and forth because there's nothing attaching the bottom all the way across, and body mounts weren't tight, and you know, all that. So keeping it budget. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next one.